1 X-Wing, 1 Obi-Wan Starfighter, 2 Republic fighter tanks, and 1 501st Battlepack. I combined these 5 LEGO Star Wars sets to make an absolutely epic alternate build. If you're as excited about this alternate build as I am, don't forget to press the like button and subscribe if you haven't already. It really helps me out and I really appreciate it. Also, comment down below what you would make out of these 5 sets. For now though, I'll show you what I made, a heavy shuttle and supply base. I'll start with the supply base. It has a semicircular wall with a movable turret in the front. Behind the wall you'll find a control panel and a cargo storage area with a variety of crates. These would be things like medical supplies, ammo, pizza, important battlefield supplies. To move the crates, there's a crane that can sort of pick them up off to the side. On the other side are some communication antennas and a shield generator. Now the final part of this base is right here in the middle. It's actually a parking spot for a variety of different vehicles such as this speeder. The speeder can fit 2 minifigures or 1 minifigure and some cargo crates. Better hurry up with that cargo though, because there's an enemy inbound on their own speeder. This one can fit 2 droid minifigures and it has some stud shooters as well as a massive double cannon that can raise up and down. I envision this as sort of a stealthy anti-aircraft vehicle that would be used to prevent supplies from landing at the supply base. But what kind of ship would be landing at the base? Well, I actually had enough parts to make a smaller version of Obi-Wan Starfighter. It's not perfect, but it still fits a minifigure in there, and it has the right general shape. You can even take off R4's head and put it on there if you want. It fits perfectly in the parking spot, and I made some attachments for the crane that can be used to scan and repair the ship for damage or refuel it. So yeah, just to recap everything so far, there's a supply base with a turret, cargo crane, cargo storage, and a communication area as well as this parking spot. Then there's 3 small vehicles, a speeder, a droid anti-aircraft speeder, and a fun-size Obi-Wan Starfighter. But that's just the side build, we're just getting started. Now let's get on to the main event, the heavy shuttle. So there is a reason this is called the heavy shuttle. It is certainly not a small ship. I think it clocks in over 1,000 parts. Starting at the front, you have a ramp that opens, allowing minifigures to enter or exit. And this actually connects all the way to the interior of the ship, allowing the figures to theoretically pass through the entire thing. Above the ramp is the cockpit, which opens up to fit 1 pilot pretty comfortably. He's got a control panel in front of him, and behind him is actually a spot where you can put one of these guys if you want to. Moving on to the exterior of the front section, there's 2 blasters on either side, and they can move up or down. You can also move these side panels outwards if you wanted to peek more at the inside of the front section. And by the way, this whole front section does detach pretty easily if you wanted to do that for some reason. Speaking of detaching, this whole roof above the main section can detach as well for easy access. But before I take it off, notice the communications array as well as the rear turret. Unlike the front cannons, this turret can move side to side as well as up and down, which is really nice. Now when you remove the roof, you'll find the passenger seating area where you can fit 3 minifigs sitting on either side as well as another 4 in the middle. That's 10 minifigures total in just the passenger area. And on the inside of the roof above the minifigures, there's some lights as well as storage clips for 4 blasters. So yeah, that's the passenger area, but there's still more interior to show. At the very back of the ship is the cargo hold. One really cool feature back here are these fold-out blaster racks. There's 1 on each side, and combined they can hold 8 of the short blasters. When they're folded away, you have lots of room on the sides to put in these cargo crates I showed you earlier in the video. And remember that speeder? It actually has its own parking area back here as well, with a divider to stop it from crashing into the passenger area if there's a little too much turbulence. The cargo area can also hold this small command post that I forgot to mention earlier with the other side builds. It's got a computer terminal, a raisable antenna, and a small turret. It fits nicely in there, off to the right side. Of course, so nobody said you had to use the cargo area for cargo. I bet you could fit at least another 6 minifigures back here, maybe more. You could definitely also fit a few more in the front section beneath the cockpit, but I haven't tried that. Either way, when you've got everything loaded up, simply fold up the rear ramp and close the top hatches. Of course, going the other way, it's just as simple as opening the back when you've landed and it's time to unload. So, now that you've seen the interior, let me show you the exterior and the rest of the ship. At the back, of course, are the engines, with 2 on each side. The engines are connected to these side sections, which have some awesome greebling and details, as well as some missile launchers at the very front. These side sections are also where the wings are mounted to. For landing mode, the wings are upright. Each wing has a technic arm on the bottom side, which braces the wings against the body so they don't droop during landing mode. And when it's time to take off, lowering the wings into flight mode is pretty easy. Simply move the Technic brace arms down and out of the way by pushing upwards on this black Technic piece. The whole wing assembly should drop down, and you can lower the wings the rest of the way on their own hinges if you need to. Now, to go back to landing mode, I would recommend folding the wing hinges up first, setting the ship down, and then lifting the Technic braces into place. And when it comes to picking up this set and moving it around, I would definitely recommend kind of just scooping it from the bottom. Picking it up, from the front or the very top is really not going to work. Now, with all these sets, what about the minifigures that are included? With the Clone Wars sets, you get 6 187th clones, 4 501st clones, 2 Mace Windus, Obi-Wan, Taun We, plus some droids. With the X-Wing, you get Luke, Leia, R2, and General Dodonna. Obviously, these don't make much sense to have riding around in a ship with the Clone Wars characters. But if you give Obi-Wan his hood and put Obi-Wan's hair on Luke, it might make for an almost passable Anakin who you could pretend is just wearing a flight suit and piloting the ship. For the other two, though, you're going to have to use your imagination. If you don't care about minifigures, though, you could probably also make this build by buying the sets without the minifigures on bricklink.com. I've definitely seen the Republic Fighter tank and the 501st there for very cheap without the minifigures. And speaking of building, of course, there are instructions. Currently, you can get the PDF instructions for the shuttle on my Patreon, and on Friday, February 10th, I will post the video instructions for the shuttle here on YouTube. As for the side build instructions, I'm still working on them, but I should have them finished soon. In the meantime, if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit that like button. Thanks for watching, and I will see you next time.